Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and Master Certified Life Coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, welcome back to the podcast, Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your Master Certified Coach and Midlife Mentor, and I'm so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is all about what I'm calling Old Year Resolutions, the end of the year goals that work. Are you with me? I know you know all about New Year's resolutions, that fun time of year where you make a firm decision about what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, or what you're going to prioritize for the upcoming year, that sort of thing. But at the time of recording this episode, the year isn't over yet, and there's still time to focus on old year resolutions, your goals for the remainder of the year. Or you can put your head in the sand like an ostrich. You know me, I don't mind whatever you choose, but I want you to choose. I want you to be intentional about how you spend your time. Because when you're hypersensitive to the feeling of time flying by and running out of time, you're in great company and you're right there alongside of so many of us midlife gals. That's also when the whole regret-proofing theme becomes really relevant. It's your chance to take charge and do what you can to make sure that you don't have regrets. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure you know about the awesome free gift that I have for you on my website. It's called Top 10 Insightful Questions to Reimagine Your Life After 50. It's a quick and easy to use little guide that features 10 great questions to really give you something to think about when it comes to what you want and what you don't want to run out of time to do. You know, to shake things up a little bit, the idea is that your answers to these questions will push you to reimagine what's possible for you and how you can think about your life and what you want for your next chapter a little differently and way more intentionally. As you know, when you want to make a change, nothing happens by accident. This free guide will really help you be happier, more confident, and finally find yourself again. And who doesn't want that? So head over to www.susierosenstein.com/10 questions, and that's 10 questions. And grab your free download and have fun with it. So it's susierosenstein.com/10 questions. Now, let's dive into this idea of old year resolutions. I want you to think back to the beginning of the year and the goals that were really important to you. So now it's not a new year anymore. It's an old year because we're well into the year. So think back to the beginning of the year and the goals that were really, really on your mind. What did you want to start? What did you want to improve? What did you want to lose? What did you want to gain? What did you want to learn? What did you want to accomplish? What did you want to work on? And I would like to add that the purpose of this little exercise isn't to create a bunch of mean girl thoughts about what you didn't do. Instead, I would like to suggest that you have an opportunity to reconnect with what you want. Little spin there, right? Reconnect with what you want. It's likely you had some clear ideas about what you wanted last year, even with COVID and everything going on. Maybe you wanted to move your body more, get more sleep, eat more vegetables, complete a certification of some sort, read more, lose a bit of weight. It could have been anything. You know, I had a funny idea. I was changing the sheets or making my bed or something this week, and I happened to look at the little bookshelf that I have in my bedroom, which I have a really big bookshelf downstairs, but this is just the one in my bedroom. And I looked at all the books that I purchased and didn't read. And I thought, oh, that would be a fun New Year's resolution. Just read books that I own. I wonder how long it would take me to get through all the books that I own. Interesting question. I wonder what you're thinking about the books that you've purchased and didn't get around to yet. So that wasn't my particular goal, but it just occurred to me because I was thinking about goals and resolutions and, just what we're talking about. So like I was saying, think about what it is you really wanted to do at the beginning of this year. So maybe you're like me, maybe you were thinking about reading more, maybe you wanted to lose a bit of weight. It could have been anything. And while there might be some relevance to thinking about why you aren't where you want to be with all those goals yet, I want to suggest two things. First, that you don't dive too deeply into the land of why you didn't accomplish those goals right now, even though you may have an urge to do so. You can do that if you decide to prioritize this goal or resolution again next year when you're drilling down into how to overcome your obstacles. But for now, don't go too deep into why. And then second, I want you to be open to the idea that any time you connect with what you actually want is a very good thing. This really is an opportunity to reconnect and think about what you want. So, are you in? Will you play along? What this means is that if you're not focused on thinking of all the negative thoughts, all the stuff you usually think about why you didn't try harder, what it means that you failed, or that you never accomplish your goals, what can you think instead? So get off that other narrative and think, what can you think instead? And my suggestion is to simply focus on what you want to want and use the end of the year to get really clear about taking some action on that. It is a great time of year to employ an awesome strategy called minimum baseline. Here's what I mean. There are things you wanted to do this year or not do, and here we are near the end of the year. Just like midlife, it's not too late. Yes, there's less time, but there is time. So this is where the minimum baseline concept comes in. It's like a baby step. You ask yourself, what's the minimum you will do because you want to? And that's where you start. And there's one more thing. You celebrate starting. You celebrate honoring your effort to do or not do what you said you wanted to do. Because you want to. Because you decided to. Because you create a minimum baseline for yourself and you make it ridiculously easy, like you're going to do it. It's so easy that you're going to do it. So here are the 4 steps to regret-proof your end-of-the-year goals, to make progress on your old year's resolutions, and basically to rock your life. So here's step number 1, reflect on your resolutions. Think about what you wanted to create for yourself this year. Let's take another look at those questions I asked you at the beginning of this episode. What was important to you at the beginning of the year? What did you want to start? What did you want to improve? What did you want to lose? What did you want to gain? What did you want to learn? What did you want to accomplish? And what did you want to work on? What came to mind? Do you remember? Was it one thing or a few things? Did you want to change jobs, lose 20 pounds, start a new exercise habit, get a better morning routine going, drink more water, get more sleep? Whatever it is fine. But I do want you to write some stuff down. What goals or resolutions did you have at the beginning of the year? Step number 2, prioritize one goal. Just one goal to focus on for the rest of the year. You can revisit your resolutions again next year, but for now, just pick one, and it doesn't matter how much time is left between now and the end of the year. That's not the point. So if there's 1 month, 1 week, even 1 day, it's all good. So if your resolutions or goals were to start sewing again, lose 20 pounds, and get 1 hour of sleep more per night, just pick one of those 3 things to focus on now. Step number 3, apply the minimum baseline concept to your one goal. Remember, the minimum baseline concept is about a committed baby step. It's what you determine to be the least amount of doing something that's acceptable to you, and then you do it no matter what. So with the example I just gave you, start sewing, lose 20 pounds, get 1 more hour sleep per night. Pick one. So let's pick 1 more hour sleep per night. And then apply the minimum baseline concept. So with this goal, getting 1 more hour of sleep per night between now and the end of the year. What's the least amount of doing something toward that goal that is acceptable to me to move forward and commit to doing no matter what? Right? So I'm going to do this thing no matter what. That's what you have to think. And here is what's so fun. You got to pick something that won't cause you any resistance. You will be totally able to accomplish this because it's so easy. You might even giggle when you decide. So with the sleep example, an hour more per night seems too hard, I have to say. Where I'm at right now, and I'm being honest, I stay up way too late. So with the sleep example, what could I do to make it super easy? So first, I'm thinking, well, I could go to bed 30 minutes earlier. That doesn't sound too bad, but I still feel a little bit of resistance. So what could make it even easier? Well, you really got to ask, you got to talk to yourself like this. I would say 15 minutes sounds really doable. 15 minutes. But every night, that sounds like too much. And again, I'm really telling you what I'm thinking and feeling. It sounds too much. And I feel kind of embarrassed saying that because 15 minutes is nothing. But when I think 15 minutes every night, it seems like too much. So how can I make it even easier? Maybe 15 minutes earlier every other night. Yes, that sounds more manageable. No resistance. So as you're playing this little game, you have to really tune into yourself. Are you leaning in or are you pulling away a little bit because of the resistance? There it is. I can't even imagine why I couldn't do this. Head up to bed 15 minutes earlier every other night. Not bad, right? Now, when I was first introduced to this concept, it was about exercising for 30 to 45 minutes a day. And I have to say, this sounded like too much. This was way back in, probably 2014. So it was a while ago. And I was like, nah, that just sounds like too much. I had so much resistance. So I ended up setting a minimum baseline of 10 minutes on the treadmill. And I actually laughed out loud the first time I did it successfully because it was so easy. And that is the point. That is the point. Make it ridiculously easy, a baby step towards your goal that is super easy to do because you don't have resistance. And now, step number 4, practice doing it. Think about practicing doing what you decided to do. What would you need to do to help yourself? You've handled the first part of feeling resistance. You thought in a way that didn't create resistance. Now you have to work on commitment. How could you help yourself commit to this small goal for this small period of time? So here's a big hint. Your thoughts about your decision have something to do with it. So what helps you commit? In this case, it's so easy. You picked it yourself. Your minimum baseline is totally up to you. The point is to pick something super easy on purpose. It helps you practice the skill of committing to something with ease, with a smile on your face. It's so good, right? So the steps, again, the 4 steps are reflect on what you want, prioritize, so you're going to pick one, apply the minimum baseline concept, and practice your commitment. So reflect, prioritize, apply, and practice. You want to practice that commitment by doing something you say you're going to do, knowing that it's tiny, knowing that you picked it, and knowing that even you know that you don't have resistance. And the way you can do this, one little thing, is the way that you do everything. Any other resolution or goal or change, you're going to need the same skills that you develop when you're practicing this little exercise. And, today we're putting it in the context of an old year resolution. So something that you were thinking about that you didn't get as far with as you wanted to. So again, if it's, even if there's 1 week left of the year when you listen to this, or you have, like I said, 4 weeks or even 1 day, it doesn't matter because you can still take a baby step with this old year resolution. So one more note. There are so many positive spin-offs to embracing your old year resolutions like this. You can stop feeling bad about your resolutions and yourself immediately, right away. You go from not doing what you planned to doing what you planned. You can lean in to celebrating your action. It sets you up for greater success with your goals next year because you have this experience to refer to. And you end the year on a high note. I love this approach, and I think you will too, so have fun with it. Okay, that's it for this episode. As you know, my focus as a midlife coach is to help you waste less time spinning and feeling stuck. This is what regret-proofing your life is all about. And remember, being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be. If you want to get unstuck and more clear about your next chapter than ever before, you just gotta check out the Women in the Middle Academy. Don't waste another second feeling stuck. Book your momentum call and we will take it from there. Head over to www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com. For show notes and links, go to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the podcast tab to find the information about this episode, including the link to your free gift, the top 10 questions to reimagine your life after 50. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.